wetter and then more rainfall, and some part is less rain, and the rain also distributes unevenly. It makes an impact on the society. And in accordance to the climate change scenario and sea level rise, the official Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Vietnam, you can see the climate change in Vietnam is quite a big problem. It's 2.4 degree, or even to 3.5 degree. It depends on the different pathway. The rainfall also can increase some part to 15% or even over 20%. More storm, typhoon, and also very strong. Also, yes, is a trend. For the sea level rise in 2100, yes, the sea level rise can reach 55 centimeter or even 55 centimeter if the pathway is RCP 8.5, and with the sea level rise can to our low coastal zone in Vietnam. Vietnam is among the most affected by climate change and very vulnerable to climate change, especially the Mekong Delta part of the country. Vietnam also highly its level for the flooding is like a number one with Bangladesh, and ranking 190 country in the risk disaster. This map, when with the sea level rise in 100 meter, of course we never like to have this situation. We can see the Red River in the northern part of the country, the Mekong Delta, and the province along the central coastline will be mostly affected by climate change. 54.4% of the population will be affected, including the Ho Chi Minh City. And how the climate change impact on in Vietnam? Yes, as I said, that flooding is Vietnam is quite high in the impact by the flood. From 3 to 9 million people affected by flooding is in the Mekong Delta and in the coastal central region. The climate change impact on agriculture. There's a lot of agriculture productivity because of flooding, or when less water is drought and salinity increasing, especially in the Mekong Delta. Lots of agriculture land due to the inundation, erosion, and also land subsidence in the Mekong Delta. Temperature rise also impact on the people health. This in northern part of Vietnam and in central region of Vietnam. Sometimes the temperature reach to 40 degrees. And Vietnam face also significant social economic impact because of climate change on infrastructure, on agriculture, and also in the energy. So we need to adapt it, and also we need to mitigate the climate change that we will talk in the next part of the presentation. And as I mentioned, the Delta in Vietnam, where we have nearly 4 million hectares for agriculture and population of 17.5 million, 20% of the country population. the rice bowl of Vietnam, also aquatic product and fruit. In the hand, vulnerable region to climate change. Among the most vulnerable part of the world, not just of the country. And the drought and salinity water intrusion in 2016. That's among the worst in the 90 years of the region. And in 2016, 18 provinces of the Mekong Delta and Central Highland. So Central Highland also upper of the Mekong, but even in the mountain, but impacted by the drought highly. 2 million people affected by water stress. They don't have water for domestic use. 1.75 million people lost their income, crop damage, and lost a lot. Actually, we don't have the loss and damage for information for this. Maybe from other source of the study. And that's the climate impact on migration. I would like to review the impact on climate change on immigration in Vietnam. It's not CNE study, but mainly review the other, the ADB, Asian Development Bank study on addressing migration in Asia and Pacific due to climate change, UNDP study, and also study by University of Phan Lang in the southern part of Vietnam. Firstly, we focus on the rural-urban migration, that's within the country migration, not to other country yet. The study shows that this by Olivier Dunn, University in Australia, and for the IDB, show that mostly rural urban migration that in Vietnam from rural area to Hanoi, and the south to southeastern area is Ho Chi Minh City, Bình Dương Province, Dong Nai Province, where more urbanization and industrialization. Also, migration to Da Nang, that in central Vietnam, or Lâm Đồng in central Thailand. The migration seasonal and also some more permanent basic. In the Mekong Delta, the destruction of the crop and agriculture can drive people to migrate to seek the alternative livelihood in the city or in the other region. About migration in Vietnam, this about generally, this housing and population survey in 19. About 6.4 million people migrant. Yes, this account for 7.3% of the country population. The refugee Delta and the Southeast people has highest immigration rate, about 1.3 million people onto the industrial zone. Females also account higher share, majority because they want to seek work in the industry. Related to climate change, there are some research from Ms. Kim Oanh in Phan Lang University in 2017 show that the impact of climate change on productivity and also impact on quality of life, impact of climate change on the environment, that drive people to migrate to other part. And climate change, even dominant factor, account for 14.5% of the people living the Mekong Delta. On the reference I put in the note of the presentation, I can share with you later. So, a very interesting study by UNDP focused on the provincial governance and public administration performance index, CONPAPI, in 2020, just before the COVID-19 pandemic. And the study shows that the reason people wanting to move is for better environment. Yes, it's account for 44%. And the PAPI survey with 14,172 people around the country who like to have better environment. Of course, among the other, for familiar reason, for the job, and for one question: if people wishing to move, when they inform about climate change, if no climate change information provide, 7.6% responding say that they would like to move, mainly from rural to the city. But then when provide the information about sea level rise, climate change, the uncertainty information provided, the percentage increased to 10.8%. People would like to move. When provide with the map and with more information, even increased to 13.2% of people want to move. For the information, so the situation similar, but 10.2 10.8% of people would like to move when they see the and information with map provided. That we see that climate change may impact on the migration within the country, migration from rural to the city, from other part of the country, mountainous to Hanoi, Lâm Đồng, and Bình Dương, and Đồng Nai province, where more industrialized. Now the part of the CNE experience in building capacity for community. As I mentioned, CNE, we work with community, and now we would like the community more climate resilient. And what we do, the CNE is a Vietnamese NGO. We are small, and we are pushing the value of ecological sustainability, social justice, and established in 2008. We have the work around the country, from the north to the southern part of the country, focus on communication, education, and changing behavior of the people. We focus on research, networking, some policy advocacy, and also consultancy services. We have 3 target groups. One is the most vulnerable people, that's the ethnic minority, the women, and how to help them building a more climate resilient. For the ethnic minority, women living near the protected area, in the mountainous area, in the forest, we support them with sustainable management of nature forests, that in Quảng Nam and Thừa Thiên Huế in central Vietnam, and in northern Vietnam. We are also working with women and people in the community in Da Nang City for more climate resilient. Within the project funded by the United States Development on collective action for water conservation, the project is ongoing to build environment and sustainable community focus on water conservation, the domestic waste management, climate change adaptation, energy efficiency, and sanitation through the communication, the workshop, sharing know-how, and people can make the community more sustainable and more resilient to climate change. And also climate resilient community with zero waste community. Also present in Sơn Trà district, the district really very near the nature reserve. Also small project to reduce waste from community, making the showcase for the people, reduce waste, reduce, reuse, recycle, and working also with organic composting to reduce waste. Yeah, this is about the project. And the activity is ongoing in Da Nang city in the center of Vietnam. Next group about our project is children, that's school children. But of course, we also working with teacher because the teacher can teach different class, and they also carry on their knowledge for the next generation. And interesting that the children when were working with us, they come back to family to back home and talk with parents and other family members about living, how to reduce waste, how to recycle, how to make energy efficiency, all this energy water through the checking the monthly bill. School children also learn how to swim, how to react or prepare for disaster and so the storm and flood, ready to and preparedness for the disaster reduction. For the school children, the project sustainability, why I still put the old project, because really sustainable when the class in school, they remain the school pupil when they grow up and they still taking care of the environment and climate change. You can see some action in school, sanitation, discussion, and working and talking with the community, so they can educate even other and send the message to other green living. Also, host target the young people, the young student, young people living in the city, and young lecturer. Youth exchange, capacity building for young people on sustainable food, sustainable agriculture, sustainable tourism. We have different projects funded by different donors. Yes, and many we really have good continuous support from Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung on promoting ecological, social ecological transformation. We carry out 2 studies that we survey in 2015 and in 2020, and nearly 1,000 young people and students. And we found that they're aware of the climate change, aware of climate change crisis and impact on climate change. And people also, young people want to change the behavior change that almost 90% of the students respond that they take care of the energy efficiency, they take care of the water saving, they choose the food safe for their health, the local food, seasonal food, so have less impact on climate. But there are some activities they still not used to, like for recycling, for reduce and reuse, or to reduce plastic. Still, because young people still like to use single-use plastic. Maybe in the next way of the study, we can ask more questions on the immigration. If they would like to come back to their rural place, if they want to go home and do business or start up instead of stay in the city in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh. But for the past two survey, we did not put that. And we know that the migration people really really seriously impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. After the period of strictly social distancing, we see the people returning from Ho Chi Minh City, from Hanoi to the Mekong Delta, to the central part of Vietnam, to the mountainous, and we know that they are the most affected by the COVID-19, but they also the most vulnerable people also to the climate change. Yes, we have different activity, and we see the activity can help the community for climate resilience. So people are aware of climate change, aware of the disaster, and know how they also exchange idea, they exchange experience and learn the know-how. The project document also sharing with others. Yes, through the workshop, through discussion, through the field work. In different regions, it's in Thừa Thiên Huế, in central part of Vietnam. Thừa Thiên Huế also affected badly by flooding different years. This picture took from the mountainous area in Quảng Nam province, and when the young people very actively participate in the Green Club, in thinking about protect their forest, working with the non-timber forest production, the community forest management, and select the right crop for livelihood. So they also work on medicine plant in different crops. They also educate the young children. So they have more income. They have also traditional knowledge and indigenous knowledge to carry on and send messages to young generation. For the young people, the people with more sustainable lifestyle is mean lead more green travel responsibility for tourists. You see that after the COVID-19 pandemic, now young people also want to travel, but if they are aware and they also think about the nature, about climate change, then they will select the suitable travel destination, protect the environment, reduce their footprint, use energy efficiency, logical tourists, for example. So the training, we have the youth exchange. So young people connected part of the world with young people from Europe, from American, and from Asia, of course. For the education, the integrated ecological lifestyle curriculum of the university student. So that's officially by the university, and young lecturer can transport, can help the younger generation in green living. And so both adapted to climate change and mitigate to climate change. The training course, TOT training, also it means for more people speed up, so more people benefit from the training. The training more sustainable because not only the trainer but also next generation of the student also can benefit from the training. Advocacy for the whole society, for young people through the mass media and social media, and campaign also with Eco Week in different university in the region. So all this activity contribute to being the society more resilient to climate change, mean have more capacity to adapt to climate change, to use a nature-based solution to adapt to climate change, prevent all this kind of damage by flood or by storm, and then reduce the GHG emission, helping the country in reaching net zero emission. Yeah, you can see different topics like sustainable food, organic farming, this circular economy to reduce waste, green shopping, gardening, efficiency, water efficiency, and this responsible tourism. This all of the topic to different communication that the CNE working with. We really appreciate the support from donor, from development partner, and especially very active participate by the community and young people. And we have cooperation with other parts of the world, cooperation with ASEAN people, and also looking forward for the regional cooperation or cooperation with young people, with people in China. Thank you. But actually, we are not focused on migration yet, but maybe in the future, we will carry out survey and study on direct impact by climate change on young people migrate to the city. So we try to continue to cooperate with all of you on this climate change adaptation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tan Hong Jin, that explained very clear in terms of climate change impact, and especially for the building capacity of the local community.